Okay, I'm on here doing another video, but this one is more of an informational because this type of use is not pushed a lot of times. We think that, hey, we need our phone and oh, well, we'll have our phone always. There's coming a point when we may be hit with electrical stuff and our, you know what, may be going down. You may be involved in a massive natural disaster. So I'm going to teach you how to use a map and a compass. So this is my compass. This is the sighting compass, and the reason why it's called a sighting compass is because you can actually sight through the notch right there, and you line it up with this bead right here, and you can line it up on whatever you want. And then what you do is you look at so you line it up on what you want, and you go towards it. So you can see how this right here. Sorry, there's a glare, but the arrow always points north. You can see west, east, south, and so basically, you can always see. So it's magnetic, and you can see that no matter what I do, I can turn it all which way, and it always points towards north. So we don't live on a spinning ball. It will always point north because our world is flat, and I'm not going to argue it. So this bullshit pole shift crap is not. Could it potentially could our world shift and actually have north be south, south be north? Yes, I'm saying that could happen. But basically, what you're doing is when you're using a compass. So if it's always pointing one direction, you know that way, like that way would be north, that would be west. And so what you're doing is, if you want to go to certain places, what I would do is I would say, okay, well, I want to go towards that canyon over there. And so I would figure out, okay, well, that it looks like that. So I would want to keep right here. I'd want to keep this green line and what I'm going towards between north and east, and have it go right here. So I would follow this, and if it started turning in my and it got more east, then I would know that I'm walking more this way. But if I want to go this way, then I would have to keep the arrow where it is, and I would have to basically follow it. And how you use the setting compass? So outside, so you see the tree outside, you can see how the leaves are coming through the space. Um, so so I can use that, and I can sight. So if I'm outside and there's a peak or a canyon or whatever I want to go to, I look through there and I sight on there. Um, and if you have a map, this is a map. This is actually one of the best maps. If you live anywhere, it doesn't matter what state. These are always. I am a heavy outdoor person, and I found a lot of cool places by looking at these topo maps. They're now like $22 to $25, but they're well worth the money. And basically, what they are, as you can see on the back, it lays out the state, and so you can find out where you are. And it's like, oh, well, I want to go here. So that is page 3940. So you can actually look up where you are. So it says 40, 40, 42, 43. And so that corresponds with the page number. So that is very obvious. This is how, and then you see Grand Junction. This is where I am. And so so that's but there's always going to be a key, and this one has a key in the front of it, so right there. So all the different symbols are right here. And so what I can do is I can go here and figure out what all these different symbols are, and figure out where I want to go and what I want to do. So the blue on here, this lighter blue, you can see how rivers and streams and all. So this is a lake. So this right here, you can see this is a, and the more, the wider the blue, so you can see how this is big and wide. So this corresponds, it looks like a river, right? And it goes all over. So yeah, this is the Colorado River, and it goes all the way here, and it goes all the way out. These, you can tell the terrain, and tell that it's really interesting by how rugged and how what they look like. On this, it doesn't have the ridge lines. So on this one, um, you can see how there are these brown lines that go along. These are elevation lines, and so the closer they are, so like right here, the lines are. You can see how close the lines are together. This means that the slope is really steep. So the closer the lines are, the steeper it is. So if the lines are like if they're spread apart, like you can see right here, you can see that there's not many lines right here. That means that this area is going to be flatter. And then you can see how they're getting closer and closer together right here. And you can see how, sorry, my camera is not focusing very well. But you can see that the lines, and the closer they are together, the steeper it is. And so you can start reading the terrain. And so I'm just trying to give you a way of looking at stuff. So this is Flume Creek Canyon. And this I know has a lot of very vertical walls. You can see how the lines are very tight. So you can see that these are, it's almost a solid line. So these are like sheer cliff walls. And then the further you go out, it's less. And the other really important thing that you want is always has a scale. And I don't know why it's not focusing. There you go. So you can see it has the scale. It has miles and then kilometers. So MI stands for miles, KM stands for kilometers. So a typical person on a flat surface can go like probably 2.5 to 3 miles an hour. And that's a pretty good gait. You're walking, it's like you're walking a street. Some of you may not be as quick. And if you're going uphill, you'll be a lot slower. So what you can do is I can measure this with some kind of object, you can see on the side of this there are notches. So I can take those notches and figure out how many notches that there are right here. So I can take my notches and figure out how many miles there are, and then I can take and figure out, okay, well, I'm looking at the city of Mac, Taloma, and so what I would do is like, okay, well, that's 3 miles, so that's 3 miles there. And then what you can do, so it's 3 miles to this point, so from there to here it's 3 miles, and then it's about another so it's not quite half, it's between half and a quarter, so it's like 4.5 miles. So that's how you measure, is by using this key down here. And you can measure anything you want on here. So that is very helpful. And all the keys have the mileage on them. So this is a smaller one. So this is of the Devil Flume branch area. So this is located right here. So it's taking this small little area and blowing up significantly. So you can see that, so this is 1 mile. And basically and how you read this, you have to figure out what these symbols mean. And usually there's almost always a key, and it tells you the colors. This one, it tells about Bureau of Land Management, tells about National Park Service, sorry, there's a glare, private property, state park. And so you can figure out all the different colors. And what you can do is you can come over here and go, okay, well, so this purple is National Park. This is Bureau of Land Management. This is Black Canyons, and it actually even says it. Sometimes what it'll do is if there's enough room, it will say what it is. And then what's really helpful is when you're out there, having a bathroom is very important. So this little symbol right there, you can see how there's how the two different figures, and we all know that they correspond with a bathroom. And the P stands for parking. And so, and then you have to figure out the road system. Like the bigger and wider the roads, like this, it means it's going to be bigger and faster. when you get down to this little road, this road is I think it's called unimproved, and then this is like a county road. So this is 340, and this goes goes around and goes around the outside, and then you can see the Colorado River. But so basically, what you do is there's usually trail markers on the path, and they correspond with like D4, D5, D1, and it basically will show you how to go from one place to another. And what you can do, you can see this is they're usually almost always oriented north to south, or they'll have a little symbol here. So that this little symbol, triangle with an N on it, means north. So what you can do is, if you're in a spot and you're trying to figure out where north is and which way to go, you can see it's like, okay, well, north is this way, so north is this way, and you can figure out, okay, well, I'm at this juncture right here, and so you can figure out, okay, well, that's north, and this looks like, so if I looked at a dial, so if I had it like this, so I'm trying to get it in line with, so if I'm at this juncture, it looks like, so I'm going to go this way, right? So it is pointing towards the west. So what I do is I can aim my compass this way, and then I can go off and go in and turn that way and go on this path. But yeah, so this is a quick and dirty way of doing this. But learning maps is extremely important, and if you ever have a map, it's always of benefit to know the symbols, and there are obviously some usually they're universal symbols. I mean, parking's going to be the same, the restrooms are usually going to be the same, interpretive trail, picnic area, and obviously a horsey means horseback riding, a little person with a little backpack on. But you can see that it's done by how big or how long so these are more dots, these are more dashes, and so you can look at this map and see between dots and dashes what is and isn't allowed. But this is a cool area, and there are many cool trails in here. And some trails are harder to navigate than others, and what I mean is you can tell where a trail is by how by looking at the foot traffic. What I do is like I look at the map, and then I can tell where something goes, because you can see it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of feet going that way, and so you can tell exactly where the trail goes. However, in places like this, which are heavily used, there's a lot of what are they called? I can't think. A lot of basically you go off trail, and this is especially true for here. There's a lot of like scenic viewpoints, so it goes over to the edge of the viewpoint and then goes back. But I would strongly recommend you learning how to use a map, because in the near future you may need this. However, if all the mega disasters happen, your your land will look way different. Your very vertical cliffs may be a lot worse. I mean, think it on this terms. Like if this were the Earth, and this were a sandbox, and I basically had the sandbox, and you did this to it for quite a few miles, or not miles, like minutes. Like if someone was doing this and it was affecting all of this, what do you think would happen with these different peaks? They would be lessened. So all of this would be, instead of more sheer and vertical, they would be it would be easier to walk up and down. Because right here, I mean, this is like the little book cliffs go along in here, and Mount Garfield, I think, is right here. But learning these different symbols is very important. Like if you're trying to survive, you're going to want to know different symbols. So I'm trying to get so these right here, these boxes that have half white, half black. These are mines. These potentially could contaminate the water source. Um, and so these may be good hiding spots, but the thing with mines is you also have potentially you have methane inside of the mine that are trapped, and you could go into the mine or have a lack of oxygen, and you could die very quickly and easily. Another thing that's going to be highly important if you have a map and you're caught in this time is where are where it used to be the bodies of water. So you can see a body of water, and there are old springs that used to be, and I'm trying to locate one. So you can see right here. So there used to be. So this is Willow Spring. So, and also just remember that you're not going to have your e-bike, but you're going to have to be walking in. So you're going to try to find water sources and other things during this time. And if all the mountains fall and the channels, I mean, this right now is a great big valley. So this is the valley. So there's right here we have the shear wall of Colorado National Monument. And for those of you who have ever driven this part of I-70, you know that it's really really steep. However, if that earthquake, like I said, happens, the channel of the Colorado River may get pushed over. But what you're looking for when it comes to water are places where it's a cup action, and it's going to be a matter of looking at a map and then looking on the landscape. So I may look out on the landscape and go, okay, well, there's a place here where it looks like there's a valley, and you go into and you can look at that valley and go, okay, well, there's water there, or there's not water there, and it may take you a little bit to find water. So, and then this is the Grand Mesa. So just remember that you're going to be walking. If all this hits, your car may not be accessible. Getting across the Colorado River, if an earthquake hits, all those bridges may collapse, or they may half collapse. So what you may have to do is if you live inside of Grand Junction and you have a canoe or kayak, you can potentially take your kayak or canoe and drag it over and get across. But you're going to have to find an area that's survivable. All the areas that are populous, and this is after the start of the tribulation, these are going to be the pockets where surveillance and Mark of the Beast is going to implement. However, when I look at Grand Junction, I don't see it as being a key. And like if you looked at the U.S. as a whole, and trying to find places where it would be key places, like I know Denver is going to be your main hub. Denver may actually be the new capital in the near future. I've seen a lot of hints that it could potentially be, especially after the tsunamis hit the East Coast. Another key area that I would keep heavily away from because of how much it has is Colorado Springs. There's a lot of surrounding different military things that are there. But the thing is I mean, it depends on how Satan wants to use this world. But I mean, these small little pockets of cities are going to probably be more isolated. Like if you lived in like Gateway's over here. It's not going to exactly be a city where it's like, oh, well, let's protect Gateway. No. So what I'm trying to say is what you're trying to do is you're trying to survive, and I'm trying to show you a way of looking at a map. And so you can read a map, and this yellow is your city. Usually the green is marked by vegetation. If it's white, it is like open prairie and whatever. And then you have vegetation up here. In Colorado, you have pinyon and juniper like between 4,000 and like 6,000 feet. Grand Junction sits at like 4,200 feet or so. And so, but you're going to have to figure out, okay, there are wild horses here. So if they allowed you on their back, they may be useful. And also this is a good time to get to know what is around you. Like where are cows, and with BLM land, so there's this yellow, I don't know if you can see it on here, but these yellow areas are BLM land, and a lot of times they have cows on them. They're up on the Grand Mesa. There is a lot of lakes and stuff. However, there's going to be earthquakes, and I also know that this is a big stinking volcano. If you look at all the sides of here, if you've ever hiked any part of this, you can see volcanic rock all over the edge of this. And it used to be a volcano. But my main goal today was to show you how to use a map and compass, because instead of using your phone that you have in your hand, it's not going to work. Imagine the grid going down, or the cell towers going down. What are you going to rely on? And you may be relying on maps and compasses. So you'll have to have some kind of way. In my opinion, if that time were to come, this would be a huge thing in my backpack. I would absolutely carry this. Yes, it is a little weighty. And another thing you could do is, if you didn't want the whole book, you could rip out the pages that you needed and take only the stuff that you wanted, and that would be how I would do stuff. So you can see the little book close. So that's that northern area that I was talking about with the wild horses. And so you're going to have to think, in the higher elevation you go, the more food you're going to find. And this is another handy thing that I would have with you. Binoculars are very valuable. These can't, like if you are having a hard time seeing stuff in front of you, or where potential issues are, having a pair of binoculars is extremely important to have. These are small. These are great little mini binoculars. I think they cost 20 or 30, maybe $40. I always carry them in my backpack, and it's so I can see what is ahead of me. So if you're trying to track an animal, if you're trying to look for people or keep avoiding people, if you're trying to look for water or for some kind of unique vegetation, they are absolutely a priority to have on you. So I would highly recommend you get familiar with your area. I would not rely on your phone. I would get a pair of binoculars, I would get a compass, and I would get a very good map. I would also get a edible field guide. There are several out there that you can get at any time, and it will help you greatly. So this is what I have. So edible plant book, and it will actually have different plants, and you can figure out what they are by their leaves and if they're poisonous and how to cook them and all that. So this is a very valuable thing to have as well. But you will not be able to rely on your phone after a point, and if you don't take the mark, you'll be running for your life. So that's how to use a map and compass. But your true compass should be God, or Yahweh, Yahuwah. I've seen several different interpretations of what his name truly is. But he knows what you're trying to call him. You can call him Adonai, Elohim, Abba. But yes, he needs to be your north. He needs to be the one that's guiding you. He's the one that will internally say, hey, go this way. Hey, go that way. He's the one that can provide for you. In the Bible, it says that he will provide the way. And it says that he is the way, the truth, and the life. It says that he has hidden manna. So you need to rely on him and go to him. And so these are keys. But I would get your map. I would learn the keys and legend and what different things are. And what I did was just to provide you with a background as to how to use a map and the different things. But you're going to have to learn how to use it, and you're going to learn very quickly with regards to how close the lines are, because it's going to require you to go up a harder slope. If they're more spread out, it'll be a more gentle slope. However, if the lines are really spread out, it'll be more flat like this. Like if I were to do the elevation, there isn't any elevation gain or loss right here. So this part, there wouldn't be any brown lines. There would just look like a flat surface, like Florida, for instance. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you learned how to use map and compass. I repeat, do not rely on your phone.